What's up, vinyl community? This is Drop the Needle Records, and this week what I thought I would do is continue my series on records in my record collection, and I thought I would showcase part one of pop rock, and what I wanted to show is Elton John. I look on YouTube and I haven't seen a lot of videos showcasing Elton John, and so I thought I would let you know what I thought of the Elton John records in my collection. So before I get started, if you would, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. It really helps the channel out. I really love interacting with the vinyl community, so let's get to this week's video. So again, I'm going to showcase Elton John records in my collection. So the time frame when I started getting into Elton John was when I was in college. My brother was always an Elton John fan, and he always talked about him all the time. And I never really connected with him before, not until I heard the song Tiny Dancer. And for some reason, I finally just was in that right moment and I was hooked. I've been fortunate enough to see Elton John twice, once in college, and then later after I was married to my wife. We saw him in Miami on the floor. It was probably one of the best experiences I've had at a concert. So I don't have Elton's complete discography. I have 8 albums. So what I thought I would do is with those albums is rank them, tell you my favorites, and let me know after I do the video if you disagree or not. You're probably going to hear some controversy in what I have to say. So the first album I have, number 8, is Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. Quite a few people love this album, but for me, it's a little weak compared to the other ones. So this came out in 1973. I hadn't really listened to, and the cool thing about me going through these albums is I've never really taken the time to go through them from start to finish. So I was able to find a couple of deep tracks that I like, songs I haven't really heard before, and I'm going to share those with you too. But this one's number 8. Some standouts, the big ones are Daniel and Crocodile Rock, which are great songs. If you heard them live, they're fantastic. My favorite one on the album is I'm Going to Be a Teenage Idol. That's a really good song. Midnight Creeper and Texan Love Song has that good country feel to it. I really like that song. Kind of takes me back to when I grew up in Indiana. I grew up in the country, so it had that country feel. And let's see, number 7, I have Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. This came out in 1975. Never spent a whole lot of time with this album, but it has one of my favorite Elton songs on it. But some standouts for me are the title track of this album is great. Tell Me When the Whistle Blows is another good one. Someone Saved My Life Tonight, also a great song. Gotta Get a Meal Ticket, that one was okay. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, pretty good version of that. And my favorite, one of my favorite Elton John songs ever is Philadelphia Freedom. I really connect with that song. I was born in Philadelphia. Really close to the bicentennial. I was born in 1976, so that kind of ages me there. But I only lived in Philly for a week, and then we moved, my dad and my mom, we moved to Indiana after that. So that's number 7. Number 6 is Elton John's self-titled Elton John. Very good album. I never really, this version here that I have is the RSD version I got several years ago. Not a bad album. Hadn't really listened to the whole thing, but about half the songs on this album are pretty good. But some standouts are Your Song, which everyone knows. Take Me to the Pilot. Love that song. Wish they would play that more. I really like that one. Border Song. The Cage, which was my favorite on the album, and Bad Side of the Moon, and Rock and Roll Madonna really stood out. Next one that I think that's what, 8, 7, 6. This is number 5. Rock of the Westies. I actually picked this one up in the dollar bin, and I'd really never heard it before. This was in 1975, and I only heard one song off of here, and that one song was Island Girl. This is an underrated album. This is actually really, really good. Yell Help was good. Dan Dare, which was a great song. I never really paid attention to that one before. Grow Some Funk of Your Own. Street Kids, which is actually my favorite song on the whole album. Hard Luck Story and Sugar on the Floor. If you see this, pick it up. Usually not that expensive. The next one is probably going to be the most controversial on my list. And number 4, I have Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. This came out in 1973. This has a lot of Elton's favorite songs. But again, I'm trying to rank the whole album from start to finish. And there are quite a few songs on here that I don't really connect with. I'm not a big fan of. But there's some really good songs on here. Some of those, of course, are Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets, love that song. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, of course. Gray Seal, love that song. Ballad of Danny Bailey, love that. Dirty Little Girl. All the Girls Love Alice. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, gotta love that one as well. And my favorite one is Social Disease. Kind of want to show this version of the album. It's kind of cool. This is actually the picture disc. But this is the inside, which looks kind of cool. Got this and this. I'll show the picture discs of it. Picture disc looks kind of cool. If you haven't seen it before. It's also cool. Show the other one, which I think I need to do more often. With my videos, I don't always show the album itself. There. So kind of cool. I enjoy, I enjoy the album. Again, kind of probably controversial with some of you, but yeah, for me, it's my number 4. All right, next up is number 3. And for my number 3 and number 2 album, I kind of go in between. It can change. It can change at any moment, but number 3, I have Honky Chateau. I really love this album. This came out in 1972. Again, very closely ranked with my number 2, but of course you have Honky Cat. Love that song. I think I'm going to kill myself, which, is another good song as well. Susie, Rocket Man, one of my favorite Elton songs on here. Amy, my brother's favorite, in which I almost have to agree it's one of my favorites too, is Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatter's. I love that song. And then Hercules, another underrated song by Elton as well. Number 2 is Madman Across the Water. This is probably the album that got me into Elton. I really love this album for sure. Tiny Dancer is the song that got me into Elton for sure. It's one of my all-time favorites. Leave On, love Leave On. Razorface, which I hadn't really connected with that often, and that's a really good song. I really love Razorface. The title track, of course, Madman Across the Water, Holiday Inn, Rotten Peaches, and All the Nasty. Really good album. Love this album. And my number 1. My number 1 album by Elton is Tumbleweed Connection. This album is absolutely fantastic. This came out in 1970. And when I started really getting into Elton, my brother tells me, he goes, "Hey, have you listened to Tumbleweed Connection?" And I'm like, "No, I've never really listened to Tumbleweed Connection." This has an extremely country feel to it. It just takes you to that country western on the piano. And I love this album from start to finish. when I saw him live, he doesn't play enough of these songs on here to play live. It could be the time of his life where he can't hit those notes like that anymore, but this album is a banger. If you haven't heard this, absolutely pick it up if you see it. It's not that expensive, but let's go over some of the songs. Ballad of a Well-Known Gun, absolutely fantastic. Country Comfort, Son of Your Father, probably my favorite song on this album and probably one of my top 3 Elton songs. My Father's Gun, Where To Now St. Peter, which is another great song. Amarina, and he actually does Madman Across the Water on this. It's actually a little bit different than his album Madman Across the Water. And then I kind of like another side note of Elton too. I got Elton John's Greatest Hits Volume 2. I had Volume 1 when I was in college after I got into him, and I listened to that one nonstop. But some songs on here that I don't have on any of my albums is The Bitch Is Back. Also Pinball Wizard. And if you haven't heard Pinball Wizard, it's a really cool rendition of the album for sure. So that's my ranking. Let me know in the comments down below if you disagree or you're going to yell at me. It's like, how do you have that ranked there? But that's all the ones that I have. Again, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know also what kind of videos you'd like me to do. I've actually been doing a few YouTube shorts. I started today in music history. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. But until we see each other again, peace.